We are here and we are strong. Let's be counted as we move on. Make a difference, change lives as we tell our different stories. We are capable, beautiful. We are born to do great things. We're unstoppable, incredible, 'cause we're differently abled, differently.
Good evening and welcome to Kenya's first premier show on disability awareness. I'm your host Jen Theory and we have a great show lined up for you. So let's get started.
'Cause we're differently abled, differently.
This year, the annual Inclusive Africa Conference focused on breaking barriers through advancing digital accessibility. Take a look.
That moment that we had as a family where we had to come to terms with, what does Kenya offer people who suddenly lose their sight, right? And we weren't so much worried for him, but we were worried for the country, right? Now, in Kenya today, something like just over 4.5 million people have some form of a disability, which neither the economy, nor the society, nor our state, and for maybe I can add in non-governmental NGOs, are prepared to transform the environment so that it is inclusive for everybody. We have a constitution that gives everybody the right to dignity, to equality, but the reality is on the ground is that none of the practices that we are seeing, none of the investments that we're seeing are really a match for the constitutional promise for all people.
These and many other dilemmas face persons with disabilities and their families. With so many laws and policies in place, implementation still remains a challenge.
Being disabled sometimes is extra work. Extra work getting out of bed in the morning, extra work finding out the news of the day, extra work communicating if you are deaf or if you are blind, extra work if you are neurodivergent.
Reasonable accommodation therefore calls for structures and adjustments to be made.
We still do not have clear legislative frameworks and enforcement around people with disabilities across the continent, and Kenya is still one of those countries. We still have a disinterest by policymakers to prioritize universal design in all the spaces. So the point about trying to get across Nairobi, it's difficult enough even to drive across Nairobi, let alone try and navigate it with some disability or some challenge.
We always need to push government to see when they design, they should have to be involve us. We need to be involved in the system to ensure inclusion of persons with disabilities, because from the deaf perspective, the only deaf people can tell you how to ensure inclusion of deaf people in the technology aspects, in the digital aspects, not me. From the visual, the same. Also from the intellectual, even the same.
Artificial intelligence is transforming the world around us, breaking down barriers and creating new possibilities for persons with disabilities.
Education is very important, and maybe because it's not just about when it comes to education, there are special schools, if you wish. I'm not sure how the model works and everywhere, but getting schools to be inclusive in general, because you have various levels of disabilities.
We have developed a rigorous 3-month-long fellowship to train and equip not only storytellers, not only disabled journalists between the age of 18 and 35, but also storytellers, because like I mentioned, layer journalism, we are able to liaise with storytellers to teach them the basics of leveraging solutions journalism to solve contemporary problems in Africa.
Without education about accessibility, we're never going to be able to scale the way that we need to. That accessibility is still not really, there's not a ton of awareness. It's not really taught in education. It's not taught in colleges and universities. It's not taught in primary and secondary schools. If you are in a disability or accessibility-related program, you're the anomaly. You're not the norm.
Laws and policies play a crucial role in ensuring that artificial intelligence, AI, benefits everyone.
The point that we have to demand right now is that the laws that are being developed around artificial intelligence have to be disability rights based.
Things are moving so quickly in the realm of AI. So much technology is being built, and we have to be advocating and making sure that accessibility is factored in, that disability inclusion is factored in.
There is need for education to ensure that students with disabilities receive personalized support and opportunities to excel.
For you to get a job, most likely you need to have a resume, isn't it? So if you look at how AI tools are being applied in the resume space, one, employers actually are using AI for screening resumes. So imagine a big organization that receives thousands and thousands of CVs. So they will actually employ AI to screen. And then I thought about, okay, one of the things we struggle with if you are a person with disabilities is sometimes you are not visible to those who need to see you, say employers. And sometimes when it comes to personal branding, really being able to present yourself or to brand yourself as an asset so that you can actually get that job. And then I just realized that this could be a game changer for personal branding for people with disabilities. Because today there are tools you can use to either make your resume very relevant to the job application so that you're not failing on the first step.
We have to have the conversation about employment and the role of big tech in creating a culture where the talent with disabilities can come to us, they don't need to cover, they can come as they are, and they can make really cool products. And I know we have a responsibility to do that, but we can't do that alone. It has to be in partnership with public, with NGOs, with people with disabilities. The AI that we create needs to be accessible to people with disabilities. And we're working with the community to really take that feedback in and improve upon it.
Safety, dependability, and independence. For me, that's what accessibility means. Can I do this thing over and over again and to know that I'm going to get the same result, to know that I'm going to be safe, and I can do it to the degree of independence that I want to be able to do it. Most of the interpersonal conflict, any degree of conflict that we see in the app and in the experience in rideshare impacting people with disabilities, and some of you may know this, is because of a lack of understanding on the part of one user or the other user, but usually the driver, about what is the need of the person with the disability that is getting into my car.
AI, however, does not replace human labor, as it depends entirely on the human brain when used responsibly.
There's a lot of fear that one day AI will replace human intelligence, and many other fears that are associated with AI. And sometimes also people think AI in a very broad sense. I think for me, the way I'd love to think about AI is the application of AI, and more specifically in the area of assistive technology, which essentially is looking at products and services that really enable persons with disabilities to enjoy the same level of functionality, independence, and freedom. And particularly, I have been thinking about also AI and accessibility. I think one of the things that AI really does is to speed up and simplify tasks.
Seeing what your young technology developers have done with AI just in the past year, to not think about AI as a way to aggregate and to depersonalize, but to actually make AI work for us in those very small interactions.
The whole mission is about how do we infuse accessibility into the curriculum of computer science, of design, and many other disciplines. I mean, think about it. Even in marketing, we have to be thinking about how do we create accessible marketing? How do we tell truly authentic disability stories? There's so many different elements to this, but the content isn't there.
AI has to be innovative. It has to be things that augment our lives and make them better. And we cannot do that without understanding truly what the disability community wants to see in AI and what it can do to augment our life experiences.
Data is therefore crucial in ensuring that we have responsible AI.
The data is the ingredients, and we need the data in order to power AI. The machine learning is that process for mixing it together. Machine learning takes data, a lot of it, and then it creates the AI that we use.
In Cameroon, persons with a visual impairment for the last 20 years have not been able to participate in university games. In March this year, we did an investigative piece which we shared on social media platforms. 2 weeks later, the country's higher education minister actually passed an order that from the next edition, athletes with visual impairment will take part in the games.
Awareness is key to acceptance and utilization. By educating the public and stakeholders about the benefits of AI for persons with disabilities, we can foster a more inclusive society.
Can I identify as an autistic person coming into this app, and so that maybe if the driver is educated properly, they will understand what an autistic person might need and how they react, and maybe some things that the driver wouldn't anticipate with somebody in the back of their car. But I think that we can use technology to do something much more simple, because we know that when we educate people about disability, that doesn't mean that they know how to treat us. Just because they understand what a wheelchair is or how it mobilizes, or they understand what vision loss is and maybe what assistive technology is, that doesn't mean that they know how to treat us. And so I think that we can use self-identification in a much more intelligent way.
We begin thinking of partnering with disability media organizations to see how we can continue to jettison some of the negative societal perceptions toward us and to set a beautiful path of digital inclusion in Africa.
We now take a short break, but we'll be right back with more. Don't go too far.
'Cause we're differently abled, differently.